We are lives, I'll say, indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you. Thank you for joining me here again. I appreciate you sharing the space. I appreciate you sharing the peace. That's what I want to dedicate this entire stream to today. Is just allowing ourselves to be at peace. Cultivating that state of peace that we technically never lose access to. But we do lose awareness of, maybe. Who I'm going to be as calm as I can be, as humanly possible. Might sound a little bit boring, but maybe I'll try not to be just one tone. I do want to say something worth saying. Let's actually search closed eyes. Awareness is all that you have and all that you are. And I want to read almost this entire page. That's the first thing worth saying. Awareness is all that you have and all that you are. And the very first thing that kind of brings you back to is just this awareness. If you identify with this awareness, you allow yourself a state of peace just by doing that, just by starting with that. Then the second one goes, you are what you create. By deciding which vibrations you will allow to settle in and become a part of you. And these vibrations can be seen as pretty much anything. Any behavior, be it consumption or action, becomes a part of you fundamentally. Third one is you are eternally a creator. Hey stranger, it's Brenda. Brenda! It's been like 9 months since we've seen you. It's so nice to have you here again. Thank you, my friend. You are eternally a creator. The one thing you have no free will about. The first time I read that one, or heard it technically, you are eternally a creator. The one thing you have no free will about. It's like this realization, this almost like point of recognition that you have to reach, where you identify yourself as a ceaseless creator of your experience, and then you realize that is the only thing you do not have free will over. You have free will over how you're going to react, how you're going to spend your time in this reality, how you're going to interpret other entities in this reality, but you do not have the power to just not create. You lifting your head up from your pillow, you now have created the interpretation of you lifting your head off the pillow. You're like, oh, Mel, I didn't even lift my head up off the pillow. Then you created the interpretation, the feeling, the experience of not lifting your head off the pillow, laying in your bed. You literally cannot cease creating. You are eternally a creator. And then I think this is the last one I'm going to read for today. It goes, make the decision to get on with being alive. Just make the decision to get on with being alive. What are we waiting for? Huh? What are we waiting for? Do you feel yourself waiting sometimes? I'm genuinely curious. Like, you tell me. Because I find myself sometimes feeling like I'm waiting. And that wait fundamentally is the thing that robs you of peace. It robs you of this feeling of tranquility that life kind of just has innate to it. Because now instead of being aware of the tranquility, now the tranquility, the calmness, the peace in it, now it's stagnation. I miss you so much, but I've been going through a lot. The entire world, Brenda, the world has been going through so much, my friend. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope you're well. I hope your family is well. I hope your son is doing okay. I hope the hospital visits have ceased by now. Thank you for joining us, my friend, genuinely. Monotone is okay. Hello, Mel. Naren, thank you I'm happy that you would appreciate that as well. Like I feel I don't want to necessarily be monotone, but I want to be calm, and sometimes with my voice inflection, it can be very much not calm. So, since my intention, the feeling I want to bring towards the stream is the feeling slash the interpretation, understanding of peace, then I have to embody, with my words, with my actions, with my way of moving, peace as well. And that's what we're doing today. Thank you, genuinely, friends. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hello, creators, and hey, Kira. Thank you for joining us, Jovan. Slag. So nice having you here, my friend. It's really nice having you friends here. I think it's not all of you. It's about to say. How are you doing, Kira Burb? Me and Kira Burb actually got to have a phone conversation this morning. It was really amazing because we were basically tuning into different friends' live streams. First, it was Uncle Becky's. He was doing these generative art pieces, where you basically give it a word input, if you will, and then it outputs a visual AI generated piece. We met each other in that stream, just sent love to one another. Then Uncle Becky's stream ended, and I think I just kept scrolling, and then I found Tate's stream. And then I tuned into Tate's stream, and then just like literally, I think it was a few seconds after I tuned into Tate's stream, Kira tuned into there as well. And it was this, hey, and then hey again. And then I just basically sent Christian's love to her as well. And she asked something, I think she said something about we need to have a call, and Christian's name has to be said in the same way as shallots or something like that. I can't exactly remember, but it was something in that vein. Kira, you probably vaguely remember this as well. It's Christian, but it's like Christian, except there's no k, no hard k sound. It's just like Christian, like starting off from the H and then continuing the reading of it. And Christian was like, we have to call her now. And he was literally getting ready to leave for like a mini vacation. He's on a company getaway right now. I have the castle to myself, if you will. And he was like, let's call her. So we actually called her, had some conversations. She's in New York right now, or maybe not anymore actually by now. Maybe you'll be arriving at the moment, Kira. It's so nice to have you, just in this space with us. To you friends who don't know, most of you would. Our friend here, Thought General, is an amazing co-creator as well. I gotta get back to sleep, but I wanted to jump in and tell you hello real quick. Sending you love, my dear friend. Aloha, how are you? Thank you so much, Brenda. Sending you so much love as well. Sending you love, sending your family love as well. I genuinely appreciate you. Have a good day. Hey, it's Melita. I'm very positively nervous. Could use some of that peace. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be about. And just reading you being positively nervous, I already added more inflection on my voice. We're supposed to be calm, Melita. Super duper calm. Like the reason calm came to my mind as an intention today, well, peace came to my mind as an intention today, is because during my meditation, I was completely trying to get, how do I explain this, into this zone of non-attachment when it comes to the things I was hearing. And I would hear things, like that little tick, tick, tick that goes through like an electric line. I was hearing that in the background. I was hearing a bunch of birds. I was hearing cars driving in the far background, making these white noises. And I was like identifying the different layers, I guess in some way being attached to them, and then trying to separate some of the attachment I have to them. And literally as soon as I feel I figured out how to create this, non-attachment, this booming noise, from a plane flying over my head comes. And it's like unignorable, especially I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna identify all of these sounds and I'm going to not ignore them, I'm just going to become aware of them in a way where I'm not going to judge them or want them to be otherwise. And then above my head, And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. Like it's this weird feeling, especially in meditation. Like as soon as you get to a state of peace where you feel like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be meditating for, then your meditation session is over. Or as soon as you reach some sort of comfort, then something like that happens. And again, I just realized the only thing that I had to stay at being, if you will, is at peace. Regardless of the sound that was coming over me, it's just be at peace. What are you nervous about? I'm genuinely curious, Anita. Please do share if you're willing to. Emu says, have you ever had a paranormal experience? So, Emu, uh, like I've only had a pseudo paranormal experience because my mom told me about this experience after I grew up. Before I start this story, I'm just going to write down peace on the one side of this Garrick and calm on the other side. That'll be our intentions for this joint today. Like basically my mom told me the story of when we were in this kind of old house in Allen Ridge. I was still a baby. I still kind of like slept in my, what do you call it, cot? Those little mini prisons with a bed in it for children. Basically sleeping in one of those. And my mom was walking to the kitchen, and from the side of her eye, she saw like a man figure walking into my room. Like at the end of the hall, she saw this figure walking into my room, and she's walking into the kitchen thinking, oh, it's probably just my dad, my husband, walking in to go and see if our son is okay. And she keeps walking into the kitchen, and she reaches the kitchen, and she sees my dad in the kitchen. And at that point, she realized whatever silhouette of a man she saw wasn't actually my dad who was walking into my room. So she rushes over to my room, and as soon as she gets to my room, I'm standing against the little rail, my hands against the rail, standing as close to it as I can. If it was to tip over, it would have. Unfortunately, it didn't, she tells me. And I ask her, where did the man go? Not where did my dad go, just where did the man go? And like that's the closest I've gotten to a paranormal experience. But as I said, a pseudo paranormal experience because I can't remember shit. It wasn't amazing to talk. Just getting everything packed into the car now. I'm so happy to hear that, Kira. Goodness, Kira is a machine. She got to have a little bit of time away from her kids as well. Got to rest a little bit. Keep absorbing that calm energy, this peace. Please, Kira, as much as you can. Good morning, or whatever time of day it is for you there, lol. Hey, guns and lipstick. Thank you for joining us as well. It's around 4 p.m. It's like 4:22 right now. It's so nice to have you here, genuinely. Flower ID! Man, it was so nice to see you in, was it Tate's stream? Or was it Uncle Baker's stream as well? I think it was Tate's stream. It was so nice to see you. It's nice to have you here as well. How have you been? How's life been treating you, Flower? Yes, life for me often feels like a constant wait for my never-ending expectations to be met. Unless I willfully remind myself of this loop, only to feel the same about something else another day. It's difficult, Naren, and I feel the weird part about it is the fact that on a level, most humans are aware of these things. And then on another level, we're okay with it. And I feel that's the weird thing about it, genuinely. We have so many expectations, and that's saying unhappiness is wanting or hoping, that's the right word. Unhappiness is hoping for things to be different, or expecting things, that's the right word. Unhappiness is expecting things to be differently. That's the right one. And it's the same thing as you're saying. Like if you have these never-ending expectations, you're like, okay, I'm gonna be this happy if I reach this thing in this amount of time. Then you either don't reach thing in set amount of time, and then you're unhappy because of that, or you reach the thing in set amount of time, and now you feel, oh, I was able to do this. It made me feel a little bit good because I got to reach this thing. Now I have to set a new thing in a new time to reach again. And it's this goalpost placing of like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm happy now, but now I need to do this other thing so I can be happy again. And it's this rat race. That's literally the rat race. Naren Ciao is here as well. Melt, this has been probably asked before, but what happened to your background? It turned from farm to white wall. Yes, it has been asked, Ciao. And you haven't been here for 30 days. My heart, I'm joking. Basically, I'm staying at a friend's place right now. We're on the third floor. I'm in the apartment. I mean, I was thinking about actually sitting outside, but the amount of noise and wind is just going to be devastating. So I choose to sit inside in front of a white wall. Okay, audio. I have an internet connection. And it's about the connection we share with one another first and foremost. Like the farm will be back in due time. But for these last few days at least, we're going to be inside. It has been fun. Has been fun. Like I feel the nature experience genuinely inspires me as well. So being able to put myself through this contrast where I'm now kind of indoors, I feel like my thought processes get shaped by that as well. And I've what's the word I'm looking for? Not resulted. Has it resulted? I've resulted. It has resulted. There we go. It has resulted in me meditating more, which I also appreciate. No, we adapt constantly, Chow. Thank you for joining us, Libra. It's so nice to have you here. How's India, man? How are you? How's life been treating you, man? A plane imitating the dolphin sounds. I'll share it with you later. Please, please, please do, Melita. I already have a feeling slash idea as to what you're going to say, but please share more. So I have calm and peace on the Garrick of this joint to be our intentions. Calm, peace, and tranquility. I'll drink tranquility. So tranquility to me, at least upon visualization, was like a big body of water, and it had like this small little temple at the other side of the water, reflecting in bits, almost like fractured bits of it reflecting on the water as you look over it. Hmm. There we go. I don't even think I'm going to stack this joint anymore. I think we're going to use it just like this. Melt. Ooh, there we go. I lucid dreamed this morning. I noticed this was a dream, and I was like, sick. Leave this body, go to the spirit realm. And my perception shot out of the crown of my head at the speed of light. The environment was moving too fast to revel in it. I suppose next time I'll try to travel slower. That's so crazy that you're saying that, God, because the last basically since that 5 gram monkey experience, my dreams have been like that as well, dude. This feeling of traveling into, in your words, the astral realm, and shit happening so fast that you literally do not have a second to take any of it in. And like the only thing that I can take in those moments is this understanding that I'm looking at infinity. I'm like, oh, it makes sense, right? Like you understand what you're seeing. You have this intrinsic fascination with. You're like, oh yeah, this is infinity. Look at how beautiful infinity is. Oh, infinity is being expressed right in front of my eyes. And like it feels nonchalant. And then you wake up and you're like, and then and then and then and then right, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, good, nice. I suppose next time. Dates! I'm doing good, thanks. I'm so happy to hear that, Flower. It was so nice spending some time with Tate as well. Man, like, I literally this morning, I woke up and Christian apparently, at least this is the way we've been talking this week, that he was going to leave at 7 a.m. And I wanted to genuinely spend some time with him before he leaves. So I'm like up at 6 a.m. And I'm like, oh, cool. Maybe this dude's gonna wake up within the next few minutes. So I basically wait, I start scrolling Reddit, tune into Uncle Becky's stream. 7 turns into 8, 8 turns into almost 9, and then he comes out of his room. So I ended up spending 2.5 hours almost on Arcpan this morning, spending time with Uncle Becky and Tate, and just being in those spaces again. I remember, I understand why it is we're doing this. It makes me so happy. Human connection is the most valuable exchange that we can possibly go into. Pretty cool. I'm happy to hear that, Chow. How are you though, dude? Other than just pretty cool, how are you, Chow? How's life been treating you? Like from what I have in my mind of Chow, I just have this enigma of a man, who wants to dominate the world. It's like I like the picture I have of you is that one stream you did where you were standing on the hill and you were showing this entire scenery around you, and we were basically talking about the cool view you have, and you mentioned that, oh yeah, the view I have if I'm at home is like basically a brick wall. And then I remember you commenting, I think it was a Nelson stream. I think it was a Nelson stream about you dominating the world after watching How to Be a Dictator. And those two thoughts have combined to become your persona in my head shot, like this dude standing on the hill, looking at all of this stuff, being like, I will take it. It will be mine. Stop combusting and start dry herb vaping. Think of your body. You're right, Festa. You are absolutely, unequivocally, undeniably right. I agree. I do want to go dry herb vaporizer, but I will as soon as I can afford to. Makes sense. Cool to be here with you. It's so cool to have you here as well, Gav. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you feeling, Gav? You're back at work right now, but I think you and Toasty are going to go through to Uncle Becky's at some point soon. Like I feel I've caught like little snippets in the wind of this thing that's going to happen. Are you willing to share more with me? Chow is gonna take over. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm just waiting. I'm trying to butter him up. Butters Chow, please, Sister Dictator, give me some land. We love you, Chow. We love you so much. To calm, to tranquility, and to peace. Just absolutely gorgeous. The irony, like there's this thing that Alan Watts says where he goes, you could, under a psychedelic state of mind, see the universe in a bowl of ash, like a little ashtray, or see the universe within a little puff of turbulent smoke. But trying to articulate, or trying to express, or trying to paint, if you will, that experience is so difficult, but possible. You can create this sense of awe within something that is so arbitrary, like an ashtray. Something so small, and yet it literally contains all of the beauty of the universe. Little fractals, just the amount of stuff that we consume. If you consume, I need to remember the right number. Was it 24? I think so. I think it might have been 24. Anyway, if you drink a cup of water, you drink 8 times 243, 8.243 times 10 to the power of 24 individual water molecules. A cup of water. Literally more stars, that there are in our entire world, entire perceivable universe. Just in a cup of water. We find ourselves so weirdly in the middle of things. And because of that middle ground that we find ourselves in, we almost unlock the sense of peace. On a planetary level, we're flying through space at breakneck speeds, like actually ridiculous speeds. 12,000 miles per hour flying through space. Right now, all of us. And yet, we can be quiet. We can breathe. Like trillions upon trillions of oxygen molecules entering our bodies as well. And we have this state of calm. I wonder if it has something to do with our size. Because you'll see like the big animals, like an elephant, hippopotamus can be, like if they're left to their own devices, rhinos as well, giraffes as well. These animals have a very gentle nature to themselves. They move eloquently, if you will. And we're not that big as human beings. But in comparison to like an ant, we're pretty big. So I wonder if there is this state of calm within every piece of consciousness. And I wonder if size, or at least relative size, affects that state of calm. Does it affect time? Technically, the size you are can affect how long you live. How long you live can subjectively affect how you perceive time. So maybe. If I think about a capybara, like I was thinking about these large animals and thinking about which one of them brings to my understanding a state of peace. And a capybara is like a very large rodent, right? Technically, it looks like a scaled up guinea pig. And if you look at the behavior slash the way of moving, I want to even say the consciousness slash intention slash interpretation of the environment from an external perspective. If you look at the way that guinea pigs interact with their environments versus the way that a capybara interacts with their environment, one of them looks significantly more at peace. Is it a size thing? Is it because they're that much larger than the rodent ancestors, if you will, that they're so at peace? Are they at peace because of the lack of threats? Are we not at peace because we did have threats? Why do we still rob ourselves of peace? Now, technically, our threats aren't even other beings anymore, which used to be the case in this reality. Now we have these entire new threats. We have these entire, I want to call it like fractal understandings of what a threat can be. You know, for instance, AI. Let's talk about AI as a threat to humanity. Where we used to have this threat of, oh, a lion, you know, it has pointy sides, a bunch of them. And if those pointy sides come at you, then you die. And that's a reason to be scared. But now we have these ideas of like artificial intelligence. We have these understandings of algorithms and how they technically manipulate us into even more bias. We have these entire worlds on the internet that so many of our kids get lost into. You know, like growing up, we had, and I love this analogy, we had like the light beer of internet. And kids, what kids get these days is like, you know, vodka of the internet. Things are a lot more hectic. There's a lot more of it as well. There's a lot more social expectation to be a part of the internet as well. And in that way, it becomes this social trap where if you're not participating, but your friends are, then technically you're missing out on an entire, not only virtual experience, but as a result of you missing out on that virtual experience, you're also missing out on the potential to have conversations about those experiences in a physical manner. So it's fear and the things that we are afraid of, or potentially could be afraid of, have become so nuanced that we're fearful all the time. You know, this, instead of just this identifiable object, lion, you know, be afraid, and we literally kill them or cage them to the point where they're no longer a threat to us as humanity. You can't exactly kill or cage the internet. I mean, China is trying, and they're doing a good job at it for their people. But that's something to be afraid of as well. You know, it's this, it's crazy. It's so crazy. The world we live in is absolutely bonkers. And if we don't allow ourselves a moment of peace within it, the world won't let us have it. You know, it's just gonna be like, oh, you want peace? No, no peace. Charles gonna take over. We gotta stay on his good side. He is a friendly dictator. You know it's like we have to. Oh, mama, frizzy hair, don't care. G unit. I guess I'll smoke a joint with you. Thank you so much. Yeah, interestingly enough, I was like, I looked at my frizzy hair today, and I was like, you know what? You know what? This is exactly the way I want to look today. 50% more crazy. Does it work? If my hair is completely wet, small individual curls versus this, I feel a little bit more crazy like this as well. Apparently, some believe that hair serve as antennae to some sort of source. And the longer your hair becomes, the more in tune you are with this source. But the fundamental problem I have with that understanding is the fact that, for instance, Buddhist monks always shave their heads to be more in tune, actually more in tune with the aversion from vanity. As a result of that, we come closer to source, you know, with that intention, and then by spending time, they cultivate that connection to source as well. I wonder where these things come from. You know, I understand why there's curly hair and straight hair as well, and it's also a fascinating development, if you will. You're like, how does it work? Maybe you don't care. Apparently, you know, curly hair literally grows in an oval shape. So as it extrudes, it like twists itself, creating twists in your hair, where straight hair is a little bit more rounded. And as a result of that, it grows in one direction, doesn't have that twist to it. 3D printing, constantly. 3D printing these very small little filaments. Having small ones over our body as well. Having nails, which are technically a bunch of hair molecules stacked together very closely, and then they distribute or extrude one solid big piece of hair. Like we are so weird. We human beings is absolutely bonkers. I don't understand how we do it sometimes. Oh, frizzy hair. Morning, Gav. I need your new puppy. Like I needed. Like I was actually legitimately thinking about Gav's puppy, and ironically, I was like, damn. We were at this Capital Craft place. Someone brought their puppy that they called Luna over, and this like puppy literally just ran up to us under our table and was like, give me love, and we were like, oh yeah, give me love. And as soon as I was like giving him love, I was thinking about you as well, Gav. Like the amount of love you've been giving. Good day, Melty. Eat red meat. Good morning, Bob, and good day, Gav. It's so nice to have you here. Eat red meat. Unironically, I saw you on r slash mushrooms, I think. I think it was that. You know, I was like scrolling down and someone asked a question and I clicked on the comments and then I scrolled down and I see you there. I was like, huh, me. There's edges of love there as well, man. It's like, as much as I have known peace from within, I have also derived it from external sources. People, often. People and situations change, and it makes me want to try to fix things. Trying makes me wait for results. Still unlocking inner peace. Oh, Naren, thank you. That's beautiful, friend. Ah, I couldn't agree more. So what Naren just said is that a lot of the growth he's experienced is from witnessing him trying to find peace or trying to create an experience derived from an external source, be it a person or a situation, and then trying to fix that person or that situation, and then waiting for that fixing of it to pan out some sort of result for them to receive, you know, some sort of information to understand now I've done it, if you will. And then again, that creates this goalpost for your piece. How beautiful, Naren. Hmm. How can we be providers of peace in that way? I feel one of the biggest ways, and this is maybe just my initial interpretation of it, is to not have something to fix. Like that's the way I feel about it. And it feels a little bit rough because it can create this interpretation where you're not allowed to share any of your own personal dealings. But maybe, if anything, only share one way at a time. You know, if you're having a hard time and someone else is having a hard time, don't unload your hard time as well while they're unloading their hard time, if you will. In that way, you can be there for them as they try to fix the thing they're going through themselves, or at least fix their interpretation of it. And then, if the roles are reversed, they can do the same for you. Or maybe, I don't know anything. Also, a very valid possibility. And I'm off. Love you all. Love you, Kira Burr. Thank you for sharing this space with us. Genuinely. All you beautiful souls. You are the beautiful one. Eat red meat. Thank you for joining us. I need him so bad, dude. Oh, wow. That is a neat fact for the day about hair. You're so smart, bro. Like, for real. No, eat red meat. I just know arbitrary facts sometimes. Like, it doesn't make me smart. It just means I've, like, considering myself smart because I know things is like considering a trash can useful because it's full of paper. You know, yeah, but no. Like, this is a little bit of a weird, arbitrary example. It's important to know things, but I don't consider myself smart because I do know things. Quite the contrary. The more things I end up knowing, the less intelligent I feel. It's like, it's okay. This is the way that I like visualize it. It's like this fifth dimensional interpretation of what information means to you as a being, and as a result, the more information you gain, the more on a fifth dimensional level you're adding to this fractal that is like literally suspended in a sixth dimensional space. So fifth dimensional fractal as information represented in your brain, represented as this thing that floats in space in front of you. And then the more information you add, the bigger this thing grows and the more complex it becomes. And this thing that you're creating, all of this information is technically contributing to who you think you are and what you think the world is, what the world think you are. It's all of these things, you know, that basically start to skew your interpretation of reality. And the more information you add onto that, the more and more complex this thing becomes in your head, or on a psyche level as an understanding, meaning that it feels, even though you're still gaining information from that model, it becomes so vast and so intimidating that you realize you don't actually know anything. I don't know if that example made any sense whatsoever. I'm sorry. I think about things visually. Like, for some reason, anything can be represented as a fractal in my head. Oh, dude. I answer way too many questions in r/roots law. You do that, dude. You're sharing love with people that, you know, are going to both be willing to receive love, and to people that don't know what's going to wait for them on the other side, dude. So you're doing good work, man. I'm praising you. I'm praising you. Thank you for the power, Professor Goo. I appreciate you so much. Title says calls. Logan and I misspelled something. Calls? Maybe I misspelled something. It's okay. How about a call-in show? The problem is I live in South Africa, Logan. I live in South Africa, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult for us to call in. But that's basically the only problem. I mean, technically we can use Discord, but that's not as accessible. We'll see, dude. Maybe, I think even better than the calls, there's a Reddit talk feature that is kind of now being baited and being rolled into. Reddit is a platform. Maybe, I hope so, maybe they'll be able to implement that talk feature into the actual RPAN as well. And then me starting this stream, I would be the host, and you could raise your hand, and I could invite you on, and you can like say something on the stream. Like that's how the talk feature already works. They just have to roll it into the RPM feature. You can let people unlock on you. It doesn't mean you have to pick it up, unload on you, and carry it yourself. You're completely right, eat red meat. You're completely right. And I think maybe that would be the better interpretation. Instead of not wanting to share, just be willing to accept that you can't fix everything. You can't fix that situation. Hey, Mr. M Square. Going to mix it up and ask, how are things with you? Looks like you've changed residence. Be careful of the new variant that they found in SA Charles. It's so nice to have you here. Yeah, I'm staying with a friend at the moment. You know, he invited me over to come and live with him for a little bit. It's the first time he's living alone. He knows I've been stuck on the farm. Yeah, stuck, you know, when you're stuck. I've been on the farm for a long time, and he wanted to get me out of there a little bit. Wanted to separate me from the environment, give me something a little bit novel. It's been a novel experience having these conversations with him as well. I tend to be a hermit, unfortunately. Even though I can very much be very social, I don't. So I'm okay with the variant. Thank you though, Charles. Thank you for warning me, my friend. How are you doing? I'm doing so well. How are you? How are the kids? It's really nice having you here. Thank you for sharing time with us. You have a smart sense of style, if nothing else. Thank you, Silver. Thank you so much. I appreciate your love, friend. I actually spent more time than I'd like to admit looking for the scarf today because I wanted to wear this scarf and I was like, oh, it's not in the place where I leave all the other scarves. And then I paced back and forth. And then I was literally reminding myself, I was thinking, yes, what does it mean to be at peace? How do we quantify peace? How do I share how the quantified understanding of peace? No, while I'm pacing, looking for my scarf. It's ironic. It was so ironic, you know, because I was losing my patience and my peace while trying to think about it. Losing peace, thinking about what peace is supposed to be. Yeah, there we go. Positive energy. Thank you, Stringer. You're just seeing what you have in you as well, my friend. I'm just your mirror. I appreciate you sharing the space. Thank you for the silver. You tried need. I also have a very rich inner life, and I prefer not to be in social environments too often. Although sometimes I need an interaction. God, oh, dude. So while meditating today, I had this uncomfortable thought. Is it uncomfortable? It, I don't know if it's uncomfortable, but it made me feel pompous. It made me feel like I have this, I don't want to call it the sense of superiority. Let me just share what I was experiencing. So I was imagining all of the time I'm spending away from home right now. And I was thinking about how if I go back home, I want to spend more time with my family or with my siblings. But then I was imagining what that was going to look like, and I just saw us potentially watching something together, you know, be it a series, be it a movie, and that would be the extent of the social interaction. It's so difficult, you know, it's so difficult to like sit down, and it's not all of them, but it's so difficult to sit down with my family members and actually have a genuine conversation with them. One that goes beyond, I feel, money, occupation, romance, uh, like maybe show or something like that. Like there's no talking about depth, there's no talking about personal struggle, there's no talking about confusion or fear. Maybe I don't know. Technically there is talk of fear, a lot of fear, especially us living in South Africa. So it's not this, it's this blind fear. It's like, oh, what if fear? Instead of like, these are the things I'm scared of, it's like, oh, maybe this thing is gonna be a thing. No, that type of fear. Like, especially with the whole vaccination thing going on right now. Unfortunately, my, yeah, unfortunately, my family are one of those that is extremely paranoid about that whole thing. Oh, the government wants to reduce the human population to 500 million people, this and that, and they're injecting people with the COVID vaccine to kill them in 2 years. And Christmas is going to be difficult. Christmas is going to be difficult. But, like, this is the point I'm trying to get to. I don't necessarily, on a personal level, enjoy these interactions, God. And then I feel selfish for feeling that way. Because we know how rich, how personal, how beautiful a social interaction can be, and you know what I'm talking about right now, as I know you do as well. I'll eat red meat. Those type of social interactions where you can genuinely feel your heart's opening, with a loved one. You can feel there's an understanding. You can feel there's a interpretation of reality that is now shared among you that is beyond any fear. It's beyond any interpretation. It's beyond any bias. And it's something that is so beautiful. And it has shown me a side of personal relationships that you can have with another person that is so far out of the scope of the relationship I have with my family. And I feel like I'm being pompous because I want to have these extremely rich, extremely full, extremely beautiful relationship with my family members, but they're not necessarily willing to go that far with the relationship, if you will. And it's weird. It's so weird because it feels like you have this expectation, and within that expectation, you rob yourself of peace within that situation as well. So the alternative I have is just to not, and then I don't. Loops, God, loops, dude. Srirachas, you here? It's been forever, Fred. Thank you for joining us. Been sitting on this report since before Halloween. Owner just called and ripped me a new one. Stranger. Oh, stranger. I'm so happy to hear that you're like at least being playful and willing to share this shitty situation. I hope that it gets better. I hope that you get done with the report. I'm not exactly sure what the report would be. If you'd be willing to share, I'm willing to listen as well. I hope you get it done. I hope you heal up, friend. Were you already wearing the scarf when you found it? No, it wasn't that high. Melt Lord. It was in the cupboard. But I looked in there because I thought it was gonna be there, but it was underneath another scarf. And then I picked the scarf up. And then when I picked the other scarf up, this scarf was attached inside of the other scarf, and I didn't see it, and I was like, no scarf here. And then I paced back and back again. And then I looked again, and then I found it the second time. Oh, I felt this. I feel it as well, completely. Nice stranger. When you have a moment, check on Thoth tarot meanings, adjustment, Knight of Swords, the Priestess. Those three cards were just pulled with you in mind. Like the only way for me to do it right now, and I would love to do it right now on stream, is to do it with my computer. I wish I had a laptop. Like I'm thinking about how we're gonna do it, if we're gonna do it. Should I just take my phone with me? Meanings, adjustment, Swords of Knights, the Priestess. Adjustment, Swords of Knight, the Priestess. I'm curious. Oh God, Ricky Goo is like ripping me apart now. Now I'm so curious that I can't sit still. Now I have to go and find out. You know what? I'm gonna go and turn my computer on. Marvin! They have made a therapy app that has the ability. They have made a therapy app that has that ability. It's centered around group chatting, no video, only username/pics. That's really cool, actually. That's very nice. Like, I'm happy that they're bringing it into Reddit itself as well. Oh, yeah. Let's see. If I put you on this chair. Yeah. Puts it like a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit dark, I know, because the light is coming from outside. But goo is like breaking my mind of curiosity now. So we have to go and check it out. Was just dropping a hi before getting ready for work. Have a lovely day. I hope you have a lovely day as well, Shiracha. Thank you, my friend. I love you guys. I wish you all a stellar day and a peaceful evening. To you as well. I felt that tension sucks. It really does. It really, really does. Especially if the tension reaches this point of, I want to say insult, because then it's not just this thing of, oh, you believe this thing, I believe this thing. Like on a religious level, it's kind of, I want to say, easier to just accept a person for what they believe in, because you're like, oh, if you believe this thing on a religious level, you get to believe that. I'm not going to judge you for that. But when it comes to science, and telling me things like, if I take the COVID vaccine, it's going to change my DNA. And as a result of my change in DNA, my soul is no longer going to be compatible with my human body. Then you're pushing buttons that I do not know how to not react to. So, whoa, Torth Terror? Toth Terror. I wonder if I'm going to be able to get the information I'm looking for here. Meaning. I hope I'm going to the right place, Goo. I hope so, dude. Let's see. Okay, so the first card you said you pulled is Adjustment. Man, these cards are gorgeous, dude. Hot diggity damn. These cards look so good. Can I search? Adjustment. Bruh, I feel like I'm a lost kid on the internet right now. Okay, here it is. Interpretation. Goeie genade, dude. Like there's books of information. How much are we gonna read of it? Interpretation of the adjustment path, the background adjustment. What part do I want to read though? I feel like I want to read all of it, but I feel like it's gonna take me some time. You know what? Let's read these basics. We'll just read the basics. So the instinct of this adjustment card is a deep will seeking harmony through the mastery of reality. The purpose is to be responsible, self-aware, and objective. The light is balance, fairness, deep awareness, maximum objectivity, maximize, I guess, objectivity as much as possible, and rational decisions. The shadow is self-righteousness or hypocriticality. Quality is justice, law, and structure. That's beautiful. The second one is the Knight of Swords. Those three cards. Okay, the Knight of Swords is the next one. Let's see. These are not the same decks. No, here it is. Okay. So the instinct of the Knight of Swords is to be active, intelligent, longing for knowledge, the spirit of the storm. The purpose is intellectual strategy, caution in thinking, which sees things in their true nature and changes them. The light is intellectual strategy as well, caution in thinking, that's literally the same, which sees things in the nature and changes them. The shadow is too stressful about the mind, indifferent about emotions, harsh criticism, bitterness, instability, pitfalls of thought. The quality is mental strength, intellectual, intelligent, and abstract thinking. Man, Goo, these cards are really resonating so far, man. And the last one is the Priestess. The Priestess. Here it goes. So the instinct of the Priestess is longing for inner sources. The purpose is being guided, touched, and becoming the original cause. The light is the perception based on intuition, mental intelligence, and patience. The shadow is vaguely dreaming, fleeing from reality, a sad state, doubtful, fake, and fear of human existence. The quality is the consciousness of the moon and the wisdom of the mother's heart. Damn. Like, weirdly enough, the thing I'm taking the most insight from is the shadow side of it. Like, I'm seeing these things represented within my reality and like with the mistakes I've made before. Like, they're hitting so close to home. Goo, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I hope you friends appreciated it as well. Might not have been the most interesting thing in the world, but thank you, genuinely, for being willing to share the space with me while we go through that. I'm gonna put you down here again. Just need to be. When socializing, I shut down, I just observe. I can hardly control myself to say something worth saying, compel myself to say something worth saying, especially when the people aren't very good at listening. I don't thrive in a situation where you have to talk over people to get a word in. Goo. Stop. Why are you literally describing my family situation, dude? That's exactly what's waiting for me as well, man. And I observe as well. You know, that's technically why I want to say I've conditioned my family to be okay of me smoking joints as well. Is because of that. Because I'm either not going to feel compelled to say something, or even if I do feel compelled to say something, people aren't going to listen properly, aren't going to be open to whatever it is I'm saying. So I just find myself observing as well. And then I smoke fat joints and I go safety squint and I sit and I observe. I'm like, look at this interesting human behavior. And I don't judge, and I don't hate, but I just observe. And then people ask me, why are you being so quiet? I'm just watching. And I tell them, I'm just watching. Let me watch. Forward focus. Yes, maybe you need to search more for a common interest. I have learned to talk less and listen more. Foreign focus, I agree completely. That's a conversation me and Christian had this morning as well. Like, I've tried to listen so much. I've tried to listen in this social environment more than I've ever tried to listen in my entire life. Because I do consider myself vocal, and as a result of that, it's easier for me to talk than to listen. And because I'm aware of that within my own personal bias, I want to say forced myself, but it wasn't really that forced. Just I made a decision to listen more. You know, I'll spend long bouts of time just looking at Christian. I'll talk with my facial expressions, if anything, but I won't even say okay or a or a huh. I'll just look at him. Yeah. Listening, but still communicating, but communicating without having to interrupt. Maybe that's it. Hey, Nancy is here. Hi, Mel. I haven't been able to see you for days. Are you still thinking about leaving SA actively, Nancy? Actively thinking about leaving South Africa. South Africa is a little bit brutal, Nancy. You know, our average salaries is abysmal. A teacher with a degree in South Africa earns $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month. I'm being serious. Like, genuinely, you don't expect to earn more than $1,000 a month. Then you pay about $500, maybe a little bit more than $500 for an apartment. Your food and stuff is about $300, and then you have $200 to work with. You know, woo. pay for your fuel, pay for your car insurance. Bro, it's so rough. I guess, yeah, I'm actively thinking about leaving Nanjing. Like the reason I'm saying these things is not because I'm like, oh, woe is me. I'm just thinking about the amount of people that are stuck in that kind of situation and expected to do that just in order to continue living. And then this, I want to say, like, twisted nature of the situation where they don't even earn enough money to escape that pattern. We don't even earn enough money to leave the country. Even if we wanted to, we do not have enough money to, because we do not get a break. There's genuinely this sheer corruption happening in this country, and it's hurting so many people. And so many people are leaving as well, Nancy. That's the saddest part. So many people have left. And the more people that leave, the people that can leave are the ones that already have been successful financially or successful in a skill. And then as a result of that, the people that can leave are the ones that you don't want to leave. And then more and more people leave, and we're left in a worse and worse state. I feel that right in the feels. Me too. So completely. Like, I'm so happy to have you friends. Imagine what a Thanksgiving dinner would be with all of us friends. Like, I think we would have the coolest chats. We would be so graceful in person together, you and I. There you go. You said the same thing in a different way. Hey man, long time to see, McGee. It's been forever, friend. It's so nice to have you here. How have you been? How's life been treating you? Have you been happy? Have you been upset? Do you feel like you've been learning things? Like, man, I've been holding, like, gripping, and I shouldn't, but I've been feeling like I've been gripping onto this interpretation, this Buddhist saying of, if you're in good times right now, hold on to the good times, because it means bad times are coming soon. If you are experiencing bad times right now, hold on to the bad times, because it means you're going to be experiencing good times soon. Be present, be aware, feel into it, because there's this constant flow to it. And I was sitting today and I was thinking, am I in the bad times right now? I was like asking myself, am I in the bad times right now? And I was feeling like I couldn't say that. I was like, is better times coming? And then I was like, dude, you don't have any equity. You don't have a job. You don't have valuable skills according to the world. You do not have a wife. You do not have anything to show for your life. Like, I was just fucking with myself. Like, you are in the bad times, I told myself. And then this other side of me just felt into this peaceful state of like, but here we are. Here we are. And it was this genuine, like, almost like stand that I had to take. Like, oh, I can beat myself up, compare myself, create these states that I have to achieve to allow myself to be at peace. And then there was that peace that I was trying to achieve. And I've told this story before, but I want to tell it again. A fisherman was laying in his boat, he had his boat tipped over, was laying against it, looking at the sunset over the water. And a rich businessman was walking on the beach and came up to him, and he saw this dude like chilling, and it was like, why are you relaxing? There was still sunlight out, and like for the longest time, and you've been pulling up and relaxing. And he told him, I've already caught all the fish I needed to catch today to feed myself, to feed my family. I don't need to catch any more fish. And the businessman was like, no, dude, you need to use all the light you have. Catch as many fish as you can, catch extra fish, sell extra fish, make extra money. Use that extra money to buy yourself another boat. Hire someone to catch fish with you. Use all of that collective fish to buy yourself big nets. Use those big nets to catch even more fish. Use that even more fish as capital to buy even more boats. Have an entire fleet. Have an entire fleet of people that catch fish for you, and then you don't have to anymore. They'll have so much money. And the fisherman looks at this businessman going into this rant, and he asks him, so what am I going to do after I've have all of this money? And the businessman kind of chuffed looked at him, well, then you can relax, then you can appreciate life. And the fisherman looks back at him and he asks him, what do you think I'm doing right now? What do you think I'm doing right now? Here we are. Be at peace. Man, we rob ourselves of so much peace. We take our tranquility and we perturb our calm. Your curiosity gave us a view of your house and a new frame to look at. I like. Thank you, Darren, for being willing to sit with it with me. Like, that's what it's about. It's odd because I have the same monitor and I'm looking at Melt on it and he's looking at his monitorception. Goodness, you have one of those as well? That's pretty cool, actually, God. Monitorception as well. Dude, bruh. You don't even get me into that shit, man. Ugh. Stop it. So, like, the thing I'm imagining right now is just simulation theory. Simulation theory. If you look at the amount of progress, so if you could condense the Earth's history into one calendar month, humans would be existing in, I think, the last few minutes of December 31st, just before it ticks over to the new year. Literally seconds on the planetary scale of a normal calendar, if you will. Whew. And like, look at the amount of shit we've done. we've made way too much. We've done way too much. And the amount of progress we've made in that short period of time has been dwarfed by the amount of progress we've made in technology in the period of time we have. And if you look at our speed at which we're innovating, there's only one of two choices left. Like, either we're going to cease to be as a civilization, and then as a result of that cease innovating, or we're going to keep innovating to the point where we have artificial realities indistinguishable from this reality. And if us, on a planetary scale, the time frame that we got to do it, and with the energy and the technological understanding we have right now, can do it, the likelihood of us being simulated right now is more likely than not. The odds of this being base reality is less likely than you being here. That's the trip. that's the trip. Am I real? Am I real? Maybe. Do you feel real? Or is it just input? I'm sorry. This is not exactly peace-inducing conversations. I do smoke fat joints. It helps me so much. Well, except for dieting, because munchies. Yeah, I've genuinely realized how bad weed can be for stimulating the appetite and then getting you into a feeding frenzy, if you will. I understand. Fortunately, I lost weight and then started smoking weed. And as I started smoking weed, I started exercising while smoking weed as well. So my initial experience, my initial use pattern, if you will, with weed was smoke weed, exercise, smoke weed, exercise, smoke weed, exercise. So for the longest time, if I was smoking weed, I had this compulsion to start doing push-ups, which was, I guess, a little bit unhealthy as well in a way. But fortunately, I've kept that up. I'm still doing it. I'm still gaining unnecessary weight because of the munchies. But now, fortunately, I'm trying to stay ahead of it as well, G. I think that's the best thing you can do. Hey, Dan, sorry for taking so long, man. Oh, you, health totally random, but I cleaned out my fridge, and my roommate left some rotten lettuce in there. The gross brown lettuce juice spilled on my sock. Oh, Dad. Oh, good. So, at first, my first picturing of this entire film, like I just experienced like 10,000 times or something. The first experience of that lettuce juice spilling was just like a little drop. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty gross. And then my brain was like, oh, you think that's gross, do you? And then there was just progressively more and more lettuce juice, dude, to the point where you just had like the little rim on the top of your sock dry, and the rest is just lettuce juice. And you don't want to take it off. Do you want to take it off? You know what? In this horrible imagination I'm having right now, you're not taking it off, and you're just walking to the bathroom, and it makes this schlop, like this sticky schlop sound as you step on the ground. And then you get angry at yourself because now you've left stinky, rotten lettuce juice marks over your floor, and you take, okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. Thank you, Dad. Thank you so much. It's not a simulation because no algorithm would generate the complex beauty that is Obama. Damn it! You know what? I'm gonna light a candle for Toasty and for Jovan, for Sinsane, for Kira Burb, for Gare Bear, for Naomi, for Brenda, for Little Red, for Red Clicker, for Mammy, for Shiracha, for Tate, for Uncle Becky, for Aunt B, Emma and Bobby, Kira Burb's kids, Charles' kids, for Nate. I'm gonna keep going. I'm lighting candles for you, friends. Thank you. Like, I know, fortunately, that our light continues. On a genuine level, no matter where we are in the world, our light continues. And this is just now a representation of that for me. All of you and your light is being represented, even though you don't have to be here. Here you are. Love you, Jovan. Love you so much, my friend. Mel, do you think hallucinogens help us break through the simulation? No, weirdly enough. I don't actually think so, Nanchi. I think if anything, hallucinogens can help us become aware of the simulation, but I don't think there's any getting out of it. And in a way, we can feel stuck because of that. And that's also something that a lot of people struggle with sometimes. They feel stuck. They feel like they have no choice. But I feel, if anything, the breaking of the simulation is realizing you've chosen all of it. And psychedelic can help with that. I hope that's not a cop-out answer, Nancy, but that's the way I feel about it. Thank you for today's stream. It's made me reflect on my dependency on others for peace. I see you tomorrow. Naren, thank you for being such a divine co-creator. Like the wisdom you've shared with me today has genuinely enlightened me as well. Love to you. Thank you for sharing what you learned from today's stream. Like it means so much. I appreciate you, friend. I feel like Sykes just let us view the simulation from a different point of view, which makes the whole thing that much more obvious. There we go. Yeah, exactly, Dan. Like it's a call to awareness of, not necessarily an escape or the awareness escaping of. And the thing is as well, and this is not up for interpretation whether you think this is a bad thing or a good thing. Some people go so deep, let's say, that they completely fall out of touch with this reality. Where they are completely okay with not showering for 2 months at a time because they know their physical body isn't of that much relevance, not brushing their teeth for months, losing their teeth as a result of that. And I'm not saying it's a bad experience, I'm just saying it's an experience. I don't want to necessarily have that experience for myself, but that's an experience that some people choose because they become so disassociated with this reality and their physical form within this reality. And in that way, becoming too aware of the futility of it can also be interpreted as a bad thing. I feel more important than anything is the realization that you are the interpreter of your reality. Fundamentally, you are the lens through which your reality is experienced. And technically, that lens, I want to, just since the logo has changed, it's this infinity symbol as well, where on the one side it's this internal reflection / interpretation that you have the world as a whole, and then the other side of that infinity is the world as a whole. And you can't expect yourself to see the world as a whole as a beautiful, welcoming, safe place if your interpretation of that other side is the opposite. You're like, oh, the world is horrible, all humans are horrible, everybody is just out to get me, negative, then you're going to be interpreting the external reality in that way, because the other side of the infinity, your side of the infinity, is creating the reality that is not one that I personally want to appreciate. I'm not telling you, you right there, yeah, you're doing this. I'm just speaking in general terms of what I've seen and what I've experienced people do to themselves. And sometimes I've done to myself as well, if you will. Yeah, you're completely right, Dan. Man, what a stream. What a stream. You friends teach me so much as well. Like, we have conversations that I feel I would have never been able to have in the real world. Maybe it's the amount of perspective we share. Because we're a collective here, we have so much more perspective than I could possibly have as an individual. That helps. Whatever we put our energy towards becomes the reality of our life. And think about how much energy we put towards our thoughts or our stories. It's what Christian was saying yesterday. Look and you will find. Yes, Johan. Exactly that. Look and you will find. What do you want to find in the world? I want to find loving people. I want to find people that care for one another. I want to find communities, societies that value human life. I want to find environments that is welcoming, that is safe, that is accepting. I want to find experiences that make my soul feel full, make me appreciate reality as much as I can again. I want to find the knowledge to be present and aware and wise. And I want to constantly find peace within myself. Just wanted to say hi and I wish you well, Panda. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your well wishes. I hope that you're doing well, friend. I appreciate the love your friend shared with me. Go and find you, my friend. Go and find peace within you. I love you. I appreciate you sharing this time with me, this space with me. I look forward to seeing you friends again tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, Siobhan, if you're still there. Love you, my friend.